Chapter 1 My Brother is the Chosen One. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Finished. Barbie's cue, it's over. Qin Feng scolded God desperately, is there anyone who plays with people like TM? A few days ago, he was still working hard to make screws so that the boss could marry a concubine next year, but who knew that he was remade inexplicably, and turned into a baby that was developing in the mother's womb. After collecting information for a few days, I discovered that this is not his original world, but a fantasy world called Huanggu. Monsters and demons coexist, immortals and mortals live together. The powerful can break mountains and rivers, call wind and rain, overlook the world, and shake Kyushu with a single word. I thought that a mediocre salty fish like him, who wouldn't even look back when thrown on the street, and who could go astray even with a browser, would not survive 3 episodes in this fantasy world, but the surprise came too suddenly. His father was actually the head of the Qin family. The Qin family is full of masters, geniuses come forth in large numbers, and powerful in the ancient times. It is known as the #1 family in the ancient times. With a strong background, he can walk sideways in the barren ancient times. There is nothing that can't be solved by calling dad. If there is, just call out mother again. His mother-in-law is not small, she is one of the 3 holy places, the saint of Taibai Xianshan. If it's useless to call parents, there are still 10 ancestor-level masters in the family. As long as they don't provoke the perverted protagonist with the protagonist's aura, they can play like this if they want to, still the main character. I really read too many novels. Qin Feng began to feel that he must have thought too much. How could there be such a thing in the real world? The hard work of several generations is not as good as a little boy's adventure. It is really funny enough. But who knows, he won't be able to laugh in the next second. Today, his mother, who had never met before, drank a bowl of fairy liquid carefully prepared for her by the Qin family as usual. This fairy liquid has magical power. Drinking it can strengthen the baby's potential. The more you drink, the stronger the potential will be. In order to let this little baby of the Qin family win at the starting line, the Qin family did not hesitate to use a secret method to delay his birth by 100 years. It has been 97 years now, and he will be born in 3 years. It's just that before Qin Feng started to absorb it today, the energy transformed into the fairy liquid was absorbed by something, and the other party was even more interested, and began to plunder the energy in his body frantically. It made his spirit sluggish all of a sudden, and he was more tired than being alone with his girlfriend for 20 days in his previous life. It also made him realize that he was not the only one living here, and there was a terrifying little guy beside him. If he continues to suck like this, he will have to GG within a few days. What kind of monster is this? Qin Feng felt extremely frightened in his heart, and wanted to stay away from this terrifying monster, but with such a big place now, he really has nowhere to escape, and can only watch helplessly as the energy in his body is absorbed bit by bit. At this time, a voice sounded in Qin Feng's mind. Ding dong, the epic chosen son has been detected, and the system has started to activate. This monster is the protagonist. Qin Feng was like a stunned old iron, inexplicably panicking in his heart. As we all know, the protagonist's family is a high-risk occupation. Either they are silenced to start the plot, or they prevent the protagonist from improving his combat effectiveness, and finally end up being sacrificed to heaven. Even if he managed to survive until the end, he would be ruthlessly pressed on the ground by fate until he was exhausted physically and mentally, and it would be difficult to show his glory from then on. As if to confirm Qin Feng's conjecture, he actually saw the halo attribute of the protagonist of the second brother, epic level protagonist halo, the exclusive halo of the epic level protagonist that is rare in 10,000 years. There is no reason to say, don't ask, it's just a setting. Lucky value bonus 99.99 plus, comprehension value bonus 99.99 plus. Potential bonus 99.99 plus, charm value bonus 99.99 plus. The reincarnation rate of relatives is 50. Note, in case of a life and death crisis, the halo will activate. An additional bonus effects are as follows: lucky value bonus 99.99 plus, comprehension value extra bonus 99.99 plus, additional bonus of potential value 99.99 plus, charm value bonus 99.99 plus. The reincarnation rate of relatives is 99,999. Fuck, is there still the king's law? Is there still a law? Qin Feng couldn't help swearing, and even held a groundhog in his heart. Obviously he is the time traveler. Why did the second brother become the protagonist? Then what is he? Villains? Ding dong, it has been checked that the host is the villain of destiny. The super invincible villain system in the universe has been successfully activated. The air is suddenly quiet. A big shit popped up in a certain pretty boy's heart. Being the protagonist's twin brother is already dangerous enough, but now you want him to be the villain of destiny. Isn't this a typical way to go to the toilet with a lantern to find shit? At the same time, I have to think about what to do in the future. Don't be greedy for money, not lustful, don't accept disciples, don't set up a teacher, can do nothing but hide, don't try to be brave, don't mess with useless geniuses, don't rescue beautiful women in danger, and walk around when you meet Yilin, Chen Xiaochu, King Su Fangzhou of Qin. There is also the most important point, absolutely not to laugh fiercely. Ding dong, friendly reminder, according to the system's analysis of the host's personality, the host is greedy for money, lustful, bragging, and flirtatious, showing the true qualities of a man. He will definitely not be willing to live in seclusion, and be an honest person who cultivates his morals. Qin Feng couldn't bear it anymore, and breathed out the fragrance directly. Fuck, what are you kidding, won't your conscience hurt if you say this? I have been very caring since I was a child, okay? When I see the lady next door taking a bath, I will kindly help her open the window to breathe. When I see the old Wang next door when I am not at home, I will take care of his wife for him. When I meet a homeless young lady, I will give her a warm home. My friends say that I am worthy of the Prime Minister, but I just want to be a big boy next door and help silently. Neighbors fix sewers. But just as Qin Feng finished talking about 1/10 of his advantages, he heard the system's voice sound again. Ding dong, the great villain novice gift package has been successfully distributed. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for obtaining the god-level halo, the capital of the emperor. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for obtaining a god-level exercise, the 33-day fortune-telling formula. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for getting a mythical epic item and a full-level red-haired monster experience coupon, the emperor's capital, mythological aura. After using it, you will get a 10-fold bonus effect for all attributes. Note, the 10-fold bonus effect will be adjusted according to the enhancement of the original attribute. 33 Heavenly Good Fortune Ju, mythical technique, born in the Big Bang of the universe, has the effect of surpassing the Heavenly Good Fortune, full-level red-haired old monster experience volume, mythical epic props. After use, you can experience the happiness of full-level red-haired old monster, and suppress all those who dare to call themselves invincible and invincible in the world. Note, the lasting effect is 24 hours, and the cooling time is, year. Qin Feng stared blankly at the properties of the props, and suddenly felt that being a villain was nothing. If it's a brother, come and kill me. No. He has accepted Confucianism since he was a child. How can a decent gentleman who grew up reading the Analects of Confucius be willing to degenerate and become a villain? Suck, 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 as long as the fuck knows how to suck. Qin Feng found that his second brother was still absorbing his energy, so he kicked him in the face. Confucius said, if a gentleman is not serious, he will not be powerful. Chapter 2 My son has the capital of the great emperor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Step down. Not only was the second brother dishonest, he even punched him back. What the hell? This brother should not stay for long. Qin Feng's anger value was instantly full, and he directly opened the aura of the emperor's capital. Ding dong, the aura of the great emperor's capital starts, and the effect of 10 times the bonus of all attributes will be obtained. Qin Feng can clearly feel the changes in his body, and all parts have become more powerful. Bang. Qin Feng stepped forward and kicked again, which was not the same as before. The second brother seemed to feel the power of this kick, and knew that Qin Feng was not easy to mess with, so he immediately calmed down, not daring to absorb the energy in his body anymore. What is the chosen one, a bullying thing? Qin Feng was extremely disgusted in his heart, and couldn't help kicking his second brother. Ding dong, it is detected that the host has kicked the chosen son, and you will get 10 villain points. 10 Villain Points. Based on years of experience in reading novels, Qin Feng tried to call the system all in his heart. The next second, a system all emerged in Qin Feng's mind, and the treasures inside were shining with gold, which could brighten a blind titanium alloy dog's eyes. Bastard Qi, God level, with a small mouth crooked, the aura is fully open, it can make a man go through fire and water for it, and never hesitate to die. It can make a woman desperate and polygamous, he will regard it as the master. Without any reason, and the price is 99,999. The Villain Point, Heart of Darkness, God level, according to the anger value, the combat power can be doubled infinitely, the price is 99,999. Villain Points, Law of Worshipping Heaven, God level, passive skill, when a close relative is killed, the law of worshipping heaven can be ignited to obtain supreme divine power. Gods block and kill gods, Buddhas block and kill Buddhas, regardless of level, price 99,999. Villain Point. It seems to be very powerful, but at this price. It's a lie for Qin Feng to say that he is not moved, but so many ellipses are also true. As a gentleman who is proficient in Confucianism, he naturally has to learn to overcome difficulties. Confucius said, you can be a teacher by reviewing the old and learning the new. Ada. Qin Feng felt that his second brother seemed dishonest again, so he raised his little foot and kicked him in the face again. Ding dong, it was detected that the host kicked the chosen one, and gained 10 villain points. Since Qin Feng is still developing in the mother's womb, he has been sluggish after a few strokes, so he can only call the system to prepare for 33 days of good luck and return to blue. Ding dong, the 33-day good fortune formula has started to be instilled. Boom. In an instant, a huge amount of information poured into Qin Feng's mind like a tide, and the meridians in his body also appeared in his mind. The mystery of how the exercises work seemed to be engraved in his mind, and he couldn't forget it even if he wanted to. Is this skill powerful? Qin Feng still doesn't know the cultivation system of the ancient world, and naturally he can't tell the difference between the good and the bad, so he started to practice according to the cultivation method in his mind. Boom. Qin Feng fell into samadhi in an instant, and his mind was in an ethereal state. The surrounding energy was sucked into the body like a gust of wind, and the frightened second brother hid in the corner of the mother's womb and shivered. The little guy is finally quiet. The wife of the patriarch of the Qin family, the saintess of Taibai Fairy Mountain, one of the former 3 holy places, Yunsie's eyes were full of kindness, and she gently stroked her bulging belly. The little guy was mischievous inside just now, but it made her very upset. What? Yunxie suddenly felt something was wrong. The little guy in her stomach was actually absorbing spiritual energy, and it was still absorbing in a very regular way, as if she was practicing some kind of kung fu, accompanied exercises. 4 characters appeared in Yunxie's mind, and the joy on her face could not be concealed at all. There are 6 grades in ancient martial arts, from low to high. They are Huang, Xian, Earth, Heaven, Saint, and God. The 4 levels of Heaven, Earth, Xian, and Huang are all created by martial arts masters, and practitioners can cultivate to the state of Dzogchen, above the holy level and God level. You need to understand the laws of heaven and earth to create it, but no one can cultivate it to the state of Dzogchen except the founder. At most, it is infinitely close, which means that it cannot deal 100% damage. You can only look at the world from the shoulders of giants. If you want to become stronger, you can only achieve the state of Dzogchen if you create your own skills. The unborn baby is in an innate state, and it is said that it can feel the existence of the laws between heaven and earth. It's just that the baby at this time is still in an unconscious state, and will not take the initiative to cultivate at all, and it can be said that it is rare to see someone who can have the accompanying skills. But once the baby starts to practice, the minimum is to start with holy level exercises, and they have a 100% fit. They are born to win on the running line, and they are properly peerless talents. It is also the reason why the Qin family used secret methods to delay Qin Feng's birth for 100 years at such a high price. In addition to letting the baby win at the starting line, there is also an increase in the success rate, betting that this is rare in 10,000 years. Baby, you are really proud of your mother. Yunxie was overjoyed, knowing that no one could shake her position in the Qin family. Even if those old ancestors saw her, they would politely call her a hero. her baby is creating her own cultivation technique above the heavenly ranks. For a big family, it is definitely a continuation of luck and a treasure of the clan. Soon, several patriarchs of the Qin family got the news and stopped the retreat one after another to send warmth. Xie, you are a great hero of our Qin family. Don't have any psychological burden. If you have any requirements, just ask for it. The Qin family will not be troubled by the world. I'm not used to living here. I'm not used to. The old man immediately ordered someone to reproduce Taibai Xianshan 1-to-1, so that you feel like going home. Why is there only one bowl of fairy liquid every day? Let the Wang family next door think that our Qin family can't afford to drink it. Let's have another bowl, one bowl every hour. Just as the ancestors were chattering endlessly, a cold snort suddenly exploded in their ears. Go back to practice. If you scare the little ones, I'll hang you from the crooked neck tree at the gate of Qin's house and beat you. That the ancestors immediately scattered like birds and beasts, like a bear meeting the head teacher, regardless of their age. The youngest is several thousand years old, but this person is the second ancestor of their Qin family, and they are just a group of children in front of him. If he was really hung on a tree with a crooked neck at the door and beat him, what kind of old face would he have to go out to meet people in the future? Meet the ancestors. Yunxie hurriedly prepared to kneel down to salute, but unexpectedly, even the second patriarch was alarmed. But before she knelt down, she was stopped by a soft force. If you are pregnant, these red tapes will be avoided. Take good care of the fetus. The skills that this son has learned from the laws are extraordinary and full of infinite good fortune. The old man thinks that he has the qualifications of a great emperor. The second patriarch didn't show up, leaving behind only his majestic voice. At the same time, the entire Qin family also started to take action. Countless elite disciples and masters were called in to protect Yunxie. Even if a mosquito passed by, they had to find out whether it was male or female. My son has the qualifications of a great emperor. Next to Yunxie, there is a burly man who keeps giggling non-stop. He is the contemporary head of the Qin family, and also Qin Feng's cheap father, Qin Tian. Death. Yunxie gave her a flirtatious look, which made Qin Tian almost distracted, wanting to let his son understand in advance what it means to be a filial son under a stick, but thinking of the importance of this little guy to the family, he could only put away his father's stick, hoping that the little guy would understand his father's difficulties and come out quickly. It's just that Qin Feng didn't intend to come out at all, and lived a life of 3 points and 1 line every day. Eating, sleeping, beating my brother. Chapter 3. There is an insider, no trading. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ma'am, use your strength. 3 years passed by in a hurry, and finally came the day when Qin Feng was born. The whole Qin family was very busy, and all the elite disciples were on standby. It was related to the important matter of adding another Qianjiao to the Qin family. Anyone who found anything suspicious would be killed first and then played. Why is it still not good? Qin Tian anxiously paced back and forth outside the door, hearing the heart-piercing cries of his daughter-in-law inside the room, feeling worried. Don't be nervous, it's fine. The ancestors of the Qin family said that they were experienced people, and they sat in the yard drinking tea very calmly, but looked at the door from time to time, showing that they were not so calm, although the accompanying exercises are rare. As the number one family in the remote ancient times, the Qin family can still find a few copies. What they really care about is Qin Feng, who was able to comprehend the companion skills in the mother's womb, cultivated the magic skills that reached the state of Dzogchen when he was born, and grew up to be an invincible existence of the same level. It is equivalent to nuclear deterrence, and no family would think that there are many such masters. What's more, in the ancient world where the strong are respected, if the family wants to be strong and prosperous, it is natural that the more the better. They give great hope to this unborn little guy. At this time, Qin Feng found out that his second younger brother wanted to usurp the throne and become the eldest brother, so he kicked him aside angrily. Ever since he activated the halo of the great emperor's talent and practiced the good fortune Ju for 33 days, he beat his younger brother every day, rain or shine, and successfully established his majesty as a big brother. Now, as long as the little guy senses his movement, he immediately shrinks in the corner and shivering. He also absorbs the fairy liquid every day as much as possible, and only dares to absorb the leftovers when he is full, and his villain points, after 3 years of uninterrupted beating his younger brother, he has already accumulated more than 3 points, and he just waits to go out and spend a lot. The 3-year period has come, it's time for me to be born. Qin Feng seemed to see the light ahead, and couldn't wait to get out. Yunxie was lying on the bed struggling constantly, her little hands tightly grasping the sheets. She was almost going crazy from being tortured by this little guy. Accompanied by a scream, Yunxie finally reached the critical point, and Qin Feng was also born, loudly announcing his birth to this ancient world. It's just that he can't make a sound yet, and what falls into the ears of others is a loud cry. Wow wow wow. Born, my son Qin Feng was born. Qin Tian outside the house spoke incoherently with excitement, and let go of the big stone in his heart. I don't know if it's because of a decree in the dark or some other reason. After the Qin family discussed, they named Qin Feng Qin Feng. Ding dong, the system has detected the birth of the villain of destiny, and the exclusive heaven and earth vision arrangement. Boom. Suddenly lightning flashed and thundered in the sky, the originally clear sky turned into dark clouds, the sky suddenly dimmed, and a strange bloody moon appeared in the sky. There is a vision in the sky, and evildoers appear. The vision of heaven and earth, my son Qin Feng really has the qualifications of a great emperor. Qin Tian looked up to the sky and laughed excitedly, as if he wanted to announce the good news to the whole world. The surrounding disciples of the Qin family also stepped forward to congratulate the patriarch on the birth of a good son. It's just that the ancestors of the Qin family, who should have been happy, stared solemnly at the blood moon in the sky. The blood moon rises, and the monster appears. With the appearance of a blood moon, the country will decline, its vitality will be exhausted, and it will be like falling into prison. If the moon changes color, there will be calamity. Blue is for hunger and worry, red is for fighting and fighting, yellow is for joy, white is for drought and mourning, black is for water. People are sick and die. It indicates that the righteousness in the world is weak, the evil is strong, the resentment is strong, the hostility is strong, the situation is changing drastically. The mountains and rivers are mourning, the world is in turmoil, and fires are everywhere. I'm afraid this child will bring disaster to Huanggu. Several patriarchs of the Qin family looked at each other solemnly. It was obviously impossible for them to abandon their own junior Tianjiao. Since a catastrophe cannot be avoided, the Qin family chose to fight. The other forces of Huanggu also looked solemnly at the blood moon in the sky, and hurriedly dispatched their men to find out who was the evildoer. At the same time, they had to plan for the next catastrophe, so that the seemingly peaceful Huanggu began to surge under the tide. At this time, Qin Feng has been cleaned up and brought to Qin Tian. This is my cheap daddy, so ugly, that when Qin Feng saw the cheap father, his dream of a beautiful man was instantly shattered. Just this rough man, I wonder if his mother gave him a son for revenge. However, when he saw the pale old lady on the bed, his lost mood was finally relieved. Eyebrows like emerald feathers, muscles like white snow, waist like beams, and teeth like shellfish. She is definitely the most beautiful beauty in ancient costumes he has ever seen. I think his appearance will not be too bad in the future, and it shouldn't be a big problem to rely on his face for food. Okay, my son Qin Feng really has the qualifications of a great emperor. After Qin Tian checked his son's bones, he couldn't stop smiling from ear to ear. No way. His son's root bone is really terrifying, 10 times stronger than other newborn children. In addition, he began to cultivate unconsciously in the mother's womb, and he possessed the 6th level of energy and blood realm at birth. Even the 8 or 9-year-old gifted children of the same clan could not be compared with his son. At this time, the midwife suddenly exclaimed, "Oh, there's another one in Mam's stomach, it's twins." Twin. Everyone in the Qin family immediately lost their composure. They always thought that Yunxie was pregnant with one, but they didn't expect that they would be twins. On the other hand, they thought that the first one was so terrifying. Capital, as a brother of the same birth as him, his aptitude is also very scary. Just when everyone was looking forward to this, the midwife shook her head after checking, expressing that the second child was not willing to come out for the time being. He doesn't want to prove that he has a personality, he wants to tell people that he must take back the nutrition he lost. and he has occupied the two-bedroom. What do you mean by not wanting to come out? Qin Tian was not calm on the spot, stretched out his thick right hand, and grabbed the midwife by the collar, telling her to deliver the second child no matter what. This. The midwife felt very embarrassed. She had checked it just now, the second child is still too young and is obviously malnourished. If the baby is delivered by force now, it must be a premature baby with congenital deficiencies, and it will take at least another 3 years to raise it. 3 years. 3 years later and another 3 years. Qin Tian collapsed on the spot after hearing this. He didn't expect to wait another 3 years, but even if he had 100 reluctances in his heart, he had to think about the overall situation, so he could only use the secret technique again to delay the birth of the second child by 3 years. This fantasy is a bit unscrupulous. Can you keep half of the life? Qin Feng was dumbfounded at the side, and began to shout crazily in his heart, there is a ghost. Hurry up and push me back, I can still beat my second brother. Chapter 4 Inspirational to become the fastest man. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Good boy, call him daddy, daddy. Qin Tian teased the infant Qin Feng, experiencing the joy of being a father for the first time. It's just that Qin Feng didn't give this cheap old man any face at all. Whenever he asked himself to call his father, he would respond harmlessly, causing his father's face to turn black, and his mother to smile even more beautifully, but the old man still never tires of it, calling him dozens of times every day. Children. Qin Feng was too lazy to talk to this funny daddy, and called the system to open the system mall. Ever since he was born, he found that his cultivation speed had slowed down. According to the system, the reason why he cultivated so fast in the mother's womb was not only the blessing of the fairy liquid, but also the expert assistance of his own mother. Now that he is born, everything can only depend on himself, but he only has more than 3 villain points, and there is really no way to quickly improve his cultivation. The system suddenly said, it is recommended that the host purchase a comprehension halo, which can increase one's own comprehension. As long as one comprehends the profound meaning of the 33-day fortune-making art, the first level of heaven, the practice will surely achieve twice the result with half the effort. Halo of comprehension. It can increase the comprehension of the host by 100 times, exchange price, 3 villain points, and the effect lasts for 1 month, 100 times more savvy. Even a pig with 100-fold increase in comprehension would become a genius, not to mention a super genius like him who has been marinated in fairy liquid for 100 years. After Qin Feng thought for a while, he nodded and agreed to exchange. Rather than quickly improving his cultivation, he wanted to comprehend the 33-day fortune-telling formula as soon as possible. According to the records in his mind, if he can comprehend the full set of 33-day fortune art, he will be an immortal existence. Even if you are killed, you can be reborn with a drop of blood. It is really a compulsory magical skill for the villain to kill and steal, and miss other people's wives. I bother. He is a gentleman of Confucianism who read the Analects of Confucius. How could he be willing to degenerate and become a villain? Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully exchanging 3 villain points for a month of enlightenment aura. Boom. Qin Feng only felt a sudden explosion in his mind, and his soul was in a trance like he was out of his body. There were many things he didn't understand about cultivation before, but now he can figure it out easily. Spring goes and autumn comes again. Another 3 years flew by. Qin Feng is already 3 years old, and he has grown into a cute little girl carved in pink and jade. With his harmless image of humans and animals, and the knowledge of the world learned in his previous life, he smiles and greets everyone when he sees him. The one who hangs out in the Qin family is called Fengsheng Water Rises. Whether it is a single young lady or a married young daughter-in-law, when they see him, they will take the initiative to hug him and kiss him. As a gentleman of Confucianism who reads the Analects of Confucius, he naturally understands the meaning of reciprocity, so every time the young lady finishes kissing him, he will give the young lady a kiss and return it. It's just that the system wronged him every time, saying that he was LSP taking advantage of other young ladies, and had to give him 1 villain point. Is he this kind of person? Even if he had the heart, he didn't have the tools to commit crimes. Besides, he also has the second brother of the chosen one, so how can he think about such messy things? Ever since the second brother occupied the double room by himself, the heifer has been flying on the plain, so awesome, not only has he successfully comprehended the laws of heaven and earth, but he is also deducing his own skills above the heavenly rank. From time to time, there are phantoms of dragons and phoenixes in the sky, and there are bursts of dragons and phoenixes singing. It was much bigger than the movement he was born in that year. It also made the whole Qin family extremely happy. They never expected that two celestial beings would be born in one child. It even shocked the first ancestor, who had been in seclusion for many years, and personally named his second brother Qin Hao, a man who dared to fight the sky before he was born. Facing such an unreasonable second brother, Qin Feng did not dare to relax in the slightest for 3 years, and used every minute and every second to improve his cultivation. Maybe in the eyes of others, he and his second brother are monsters of the same level, but my family knows their own affairs. He didn't comprehend the accompanying skills at all in the mother's womb, only comprehended the external way, that is to say, he and the 33-day good fortune art have not reached the state of Dzogchen at all, and they cannot be invincible at the same level. At the starting point, he had already lost a lot to his second brother. He didn't want to be worshipped or killed in the future, so he had to hurry up and improve his cultivation. Now he has comprehended the first level of the 33-day fortune-telling formula, and his cultivation has also broken through to the 9th level of qi and blood. He is only one step away from breaking through to the Kaiyuan state and opening up his Dantian to store his spiritual power. The 3-year-old Kaiyuanjing will break the ancient record. Breakthrough Kaiyuan is at this time. Break it for me. Qin Feng, who was sitting cross-legged on the bed, opened his eyes suddenly, shouted loudly, and blasted his Dantian with all the spiritual power in his body. Boom! A terrifying impact exploded in Qin Feng's body, and a dim starry sky appeared in the Dantian. The surrounding aura also flooded into the Dantian like a tide, turning into spiritual power to light up the dim starry sky, making it contain an endless force of good fortune. Hu, breaking through the first level of the Yuan Kai Jing. Qin Feng exhaled deeply, 10 times stronger than before. Also, since comprehending the first level of the 33-day fortune-making art, his recovery ability is much, much stronger than that of people of the same level, and he is one step closer to thinking about other people's wives. Immortality. Calculating the time, the second brother should be born soon. Qin Feng looked up at the moon and muttered to himself. He missed his second brother even more after not seeing him for 3 years. Since the second brother dominated the double room 3 years ago, his villain point has lost its source. Although according to the system's villain law, bullying other people can also get villain points, but Naiha is really pitifully few, and it can't be compared with the second brother, the chosen son of heaven. For example, he was taken advantage of by the young lady and daughter-in-law of the Qin family for 3 years, but he only earned more than 1,000 hard-earned money, far less than he earned from beating his second brother. My stupid Oudou Dou, do you know how my brother has lived these 3 years? Qin Feng looked at the 4,300 villain points displayed by the system, which he had saved up through hard work. He didn't dare to use any of them in the past 3 years, just because he was afraid that the aura of his second brother's kinship would suddenly be activated, and the family would be exterminated or something. Fortunately, the second brother is about to be born, and it's time for him to strengthen himself. Qin Feng couldn't wait to open the system all, and had long been eyeing a god-level movement technique called Phantom Shadow, but he currently has limited points and can only buy the first volume. As for why you don't choose the family's exercises to practice, the system is activated, and you waste time studying. Aren't you stupid? Exchange it directly. Isn't it delicious? Phantom of Happy Life, Volume 4000. After learning, you can be as light as a swallow, stepping on the snow without a trace. Exchange price, villain points. Be a wolf and train your teeth, be a sheep and train your legs. Facing the unreasonable son of heaven like his second brother, he can only inspire himself to be the fastest man in ancient times. As long as he finds something is wrong, he can run away immediately. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for spending 4,000 villain points and successfully redeeming the first volume of Phantom Happy. A figure immediately appeared in front of Qin Feng's eyes, moving quickly with exquisite footwork, and the changes in his figure were dazzling and untouchable, and he was one step closer to becoming the fastest man in the ancient times. Chapter 5. What kind of bad thoughts can children have? You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, when the news of Qin Feng breaking through the Kaiyuan realm came, it was like a thunder that exploded the entire Qin family. The 3-year-old Kaiyuanjing is absolutely unprecedented. Okay, my son Qin Feng really has the qualifications of a great emperor. Qin Tian's excited laughter resounded through the Qin family, wishing to see someone and just say that my son Qin Feng is worthy of a great emperor. Seeing this scene, Qin Feng panicked in his heart. The father of a villain in his memory was also like this. Every day he talked about his son's status as a great emperor, and finally succeeded in attracting the protagonist's attention. Fenger, it's awesome. Yunxia came over with her big belly, and petted Qin Feng's head with her hand. For this sensible and hardworking eldest son, let alone how much she likes it, ever since Qin Feng was born, she has never worried about her. When a child was a child, he could cry until his parents collapsed, but her son insisted on not crying, and would take the initiative to remind you when he was hungry or urinating. Qin Feng couldn't help rolling his eyes, and began to shout crazily in his heart. The 3-year-old cute baby has worked hard day and night for 3 years to break through the first stage of Kaiyuan realm, breaking the unprecedented record in ancient times. Is it a dream, or responsibility? Neither. It's because he has an unreasonable second brother. He doesn't want to be implicated until he dies young. Just when the family of 3 is happy and harmonious, and the father is kind and the son is filial, Yunxia suddenly put on the pain mask, and felt an overwhelming pain in her stomach. At the same time, strong winds began to blow outside, lightning and thunder, and dark clouds were densely covered. The sound of dragons and phoenixes resounded through the void, and the phantom surrounded by dragons and phoenixes became solidified. Madam is about to give birth. With the experience of last time, everyone in the Qin family immediately realized what was going on. The well-trained maids began to work one by one, and the elite disciples of the Qin family began to be on high alert to prevent anyone from threatening their Qin family's future hope. My stupid Oudou Dou, you are finally going to be born. Qin Feng was so excited that his breath became short of breath, and he couldn't wait to meet his second brother, and the father, Qin Tian, was also very excited. He was both angry and happy with this second child. What makes him angry is that he doesn't understand his father's difficulties, so he insisted on delaying his birth for 3 years. What makes him happy is that he has another big son, and he doesn't know if he has the qualifications of a great emperor. Boom. There was constant lightning and thunder in the sky. Yunxia screamed again and again in the room. The second child never showed any intention of coming out, and the phantom of dragon and phoenix also hurriedly wandered in the air, as if something bad was about to happen. I have a second child. Why is it so difficult to give birth? Qin Feng soon realized the seriousness of the problem, and wondered if the second brother's aura of restraint had been activated. Once the halo is opened, relatives and friends will die. Boom! There was another thunder and lightning, accompanied by a terrifying coercion, which made everyone feel like a mountain was pressing on them, and made production more difficult. Who? Qin Tian was furious on the spot. Violent energy spewed out from his body, and the disciples of the Qin family were also instantly full of anger, gathering everyone's energy to resist this coercion. It's just that this coercion is too terrifying. Even if the Qin family's joint efforts are not their opponents, when it seems that they are about to be unable to support it, the Qin family also burst out with 7 or 8 terrifying coercions. The second ancestor's cold voice followed. Old Nichian, do you want to start a war with me? Haha. This old man is just trying to test the cultivation of my nephews. A white-haired old man wearing a dragon robe appeared in the air. If he hadn't seen what he did just now, it would be difficult to connect him with ulterior motives based on his benevolent appearance. Dragon robe? The Emperor of Great Xia. Qin Feng is no longer a novice. In addition to practicing in the past 3 years, he also has a little understanding of Huanggu. In ancient times, all kinds of forces were mixed up. There are countless aristocratic families, sects, tribes, gangs, and hundreds of schools. In order to strengthen their own strength and compete for more cultivation resources, all forces will also combine to form a country. For example, the Great Xia dynasty, the largest country in the ancient times, was composed of countless families, and the Qin family was also the most powerful of these families, so it was called the number 1 family in the ancient times. It's a bit of the meaning of the powerful and noble families in the Sui and Tang dynasties, and it was also a thorn in the ruler's eyes and a thorn in their flesh. After knowing who the other party is, it is not difficult to understand why the other party did what he did just now. The Qin family gave birth to two heavenly talents one after another. How could the great Xia royal family not feel threatened? This is the eldest son of the Qin family. Emperor Daxia seemed to be okay, and fell from the sky with a smile. When he saw Qin Feng, he couldn't help reaching out to touch it. Whoosh! Qin Feng immediately resorted to phantom happy, and quickly backed away to keep a safe distance. Just because he had the idea of killing his second brother just now, he didn't dare to contact him. If he was affected by the aura of his second brother's prostitution, wouldn't he go to get a box lunch? This is movement technique. Emperor Daxia's face changed suddenly, and his heart could not be calm for a long time. For a master of his level, Qin Feng's body skills are nothing. No matter how he dodges a slap, he can slap him to death, but the problem is that he is only 3 years old. Breaking through to the Kaiyuan realm at the age of 3 is unprecedented, and can master a movement technique so smoothly. This son has the qualifications of a great emperor. At the same time, he also thought of the blood moon 3 years ago, which represented the birth of a monster. It was rumored that the appearance of this monster indicated that the country would decline, that it would be exhausted, like falling into prison, and it was a potential threat to their great Xia dynasty. Could it be that evildoer is the eldest son of the Qin family? When did he? Qin Tian was taken aback for a moment, but then he was extremely pleasantly surprised. He didn't expect his precious son to learn agility. Although this set of movement skills did not come from their Qin family, he could still see its mystery at a glance. It was definitely a movement technique above the heavenly level that was comprehended from the laws of heaven and earth. I'm sorry, children are afraid of life. That the ancestors of the Qin family also showed their bodies to perfunctory, and tightly guarded Qin Feng behind him like a calf. No problem, no problem. Emperor Daxia took a deep look at Qin Feng, and didn't know what he was thinking. At this time, when Qin Feng saw someone supporting him, he immediately revealed his true colors. Your Majesty. I have long heard people say that Your Majesty is brilliant, virtuous, self-sacrificing, persevering, hard-working, unyielding, tolerant of all rivers, upright, fearless in the face of danger, unparalleled in the world. The first time I saw him today, he really lived up to his reputation. Qin Feng had an exaggerated expression as if he saw an idol, and made another rainbow fart, and then changed the subject. Your Majesty, as a wise and powerful person, you will not come empty-handed when you come to someone's guest, right? Done. Qin Feng blinked his big innocent eyes, as if I was just a child. What kind of bad thoughts could I have? Chapter 6 Adults choose talents, children want all. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The corners of Emperor Daxia's eyes twitched unconsciously, realizing that this little guy was really bad. Said that he didn't come to Qin's house as a guest. Then admit that I came to the Qin family to find trouble. With so many ancestors of the Qin family present, what is the difference between courting death? But if it is said to be a guest, he didn't prepare any presents, so he wouldn't take out the divine clothes on his body and give them away. Seeing that the other party didn't respond, Qin Feng immediately exclaimed exaggeratedly, no way, no way, the majestic Emperor Daxia actually came to be a guest empty-handed. The ancestors of the Qin family were so happy, they had no intention of coming out to rescue them, judging from the random use of coercion by the other party just now, which almost caused Junxi's dystocia. It can be seen that the Daxia royal family has already begun to target their Qin family. If it weren't for the consideration of the consequences of starting a war rashly, they wouldn't even know him if they really wanted to rush up and fight just now. At the same time, this incident also reminded them that some things must be planned as soon as possible, otherwise when the royal family really raises the butcher knife, their Qin family will be in danger. How come? Of course you bring a gift when you come to someone's house. Emperor Daxia was so embarrassed by what Qin Feng said, and seeing that there was no one in the Qin family to help him out, he could only show a smile that was uglier than crying, and took out a small wooden box with heartache. After opening, there are 9 exquisite small swords like fingers, and each sword contains a strong sword energy. 9 swords in the sky. The ancestors of the Qin family were a little moved, and blurted out the origin of the 9 swords. This sword is the sword of a generation of Tianjiao 10,000 years ago, the sword of the sky sword god. There are 9 swords, including killing immortals, killing gods, destroying Buddhas, subduing demons, beheading saints, chasing souls, seizing souls, and breaking troops. Each sword is a rare magical weapon in the world, and the combination of 9 swords can even rank among the top 10 ancient magic weapons, and they can also be separated to form a sword array, which is powerful enough to defeat thousands of troops. It's just that with the fall of the sky sword god 10,000 years ago, the 9 swords were also scattered all over the wilderness. Unexpectedly, this old loach collected them all. Emperor Daxia's face was tangled, and he was reluctant to give it to anyone. It took him a lot of manpower, material resources, financial resources and time to collect these 9 swords. Before he could appreciate them properly, he would give them away, the lesser of the 2 powers. Forget it, close your eyes and give me a hand. As if accepting his fate, Emperor Daxia was ready to let Qin Feng choose one of them, and he believes that it won't be long before this sword will return to him again, because the Qin family has 2 geniuses in succession, which not only threatens the imperial power, but also breaks the balance among the aristocratic families. The world is prosperous, all come for profit, and the world is crowded, all come for profit. Now the cake is so big, once these 2 Tianjiao grow up, the resources obtained by other aristocratic families will definitely be squeezed. How can other aristocratic families be reconciled? But before Emperor Daxia asked Qin Feng to choose, Qin Feng snatched the small wooden box containing the 9 swords with a harmless smile on his face, and said, "Thank you, Your Majesty, for bestowing the 9 swords." Although Qin Feng still doesn't know the origin of the 9 swords, it is not difficult to tell from the expressions of the ancestors of the Qin family. Good stuff. Adults will choose, of course children want them all. Emperor Daxia hurriedly opened his mouth, wanting to explain the reward. However, the ancestors of the Qin family also seemed to have no integrity, and all kinds of rainbow farts rushed towards them immediately. Your Majesty is really too generous. One shot is the 9 swords in the sky. Your Majesty attaches so much importance to our Qin family, it really moved the old man to tears, and I wish I could turn into a daughter and give him my body. I'm afraid the Qin family won't be able to afford such an expensive gift. Your Majesty is the son of heaven, a real dragon, rich in the world, how could he care about these extraneous things? No, talking about money with His Majesty is not an insult to His Majesty. As the saying goes, sending goose feathers from thousands of miles away is less polite and more affectionate. It's fine if we think about it. Your Majesty understands. My Qin family will look forward to His Majesty's lead in the future. Whoever dares to speak ill of His Majesty, the Qin family will be the first to refuse. Stinky boy, do you have any rules? Hurry up and kowtow to His Majesty to thank you. Qin Feng also kowtowed 3 times, just like going to the grave during the festival. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for carrying forward the villain spirit, and not letting Qian Ming steal other people's rare magic weapon, the 9 swords in the sky, and getting 1,000 villain points. Ming grab. Whoever stole it, don't frame a good person, it was obviously given to him by others. Qin Feng strongly condemned the system. If you can't speak, don't speak. This family. Emperor Daxia was so angry that he almost came to his aunt, but found that the Qin family didn't want any face at all. I don't know if it was to prove his conjecture, or Qin Feng had tasted the sweetness, and looked at him innocently. Your Majesty, have you ever heard of a rule in the world? The elders will give a greeting to the juniors when they meet for the first time. Puff. Emperor Daxia almost spat out a mouthful of, year-old blood, saying that he had never seen such a brazen person. It seems that there is such a rule. Fearing that the world would not be chaotic, the ancestors of the Qin family made it clear that today they would fight the local tyrants together. This face. The surrounding disciples of the Qin family felt ashamed. After living in the Qin family for so many years, she has not comprehended the ultimate meaning of the Qin family. Qin Feng began to exclaim exaggeratedly again, you have lived a long life, you have lived a long life, the most powerful country in ancient times. the boss of the great Xia dynasty, is reluctant to give a greeting gift to the younger generation. Holy shit! Can this little bastard show some face? If it weren't for the presence of several ancestors of the Qin family, he promised not to beat this little shameless person to death. Emperor Daxia felt a little regretful. He didn't read the almanac when he went out today, and he actually encountered such a shameless little thing. He was not satisfied with the 9 swords of the sky, and wanted to blackmail another one. However, for the sake of his emperor's face, he painstakingly removed a small jade gourd from his waist, on which some auspicious cloud-like runes were engraved with gold silk, which made people feel tall and tall. Tianbao gourd. The eyes of the ancestors of the Qin family brightened, and they said in their hearts that the royal family is really rich. This Tianbao gourd is not an offensive or defensive treasure. Wearing it on the body can play a calming effect. When practicing, it can avoid going crazy, and it can also speed up the speed of cultivation, quickly consolidate the cultivation base, especially the ability to quickly return to mana during battle, which can be said to be a treasure that practitioners dream of. It's just that the refining cost is too high and the success rate is too low. Even their Qin family dare not try refining lightly. The only 5 Tianbao gourds left in the family are also finished products obtained from other sources. Thank you, Your Majesty. Qin Feng stepped forward happily, and cheekily accepted the gourd. Ding dong, it was detected that the host is willing to help others, and he will keep the Tianbao gourd for free, and get 1,000 villain points. Qin Feng nodded in satisfaction, telling the system to talk more. Chapter 7. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You're welcome, you're welcome. Emperor Daxia smiled uglier than crying, and he was really reluctant to part with Tianbao gourd, but this is already the least valuable treasure on his body, so it's not possible to give this kid the magic costume that he has worked so hard to build for many years. Wait. Why is this boy's eyes so familiar? Emperor Daxia's heart trembled suddenly, and he found that Qin Feng was looking at him innocently again, as if he had asked him for a meeting gift before. Holy shit. How can people be so shameless? I have already given him 2 treasures, but they still can't satisfy this kid's appetite. The faces of the ancestors of the Qin family were a little bit worried, and they said in their hearts that Sang, gone, was sick, and crazy, beautiful. Even cheating 2 treasures, the appetite is still so good. They had to think about when to organize a group to take Qin Feng to the great Xia imperial city and visit them door to door. The disciples of the Qin family around looked at it with envy, as if they also understood the truth that when a person is in the world, his face is something outside of him. Ding dong, it's detected that the host has led the disciples of the Qin family bad, and you'll get 200 villain points. This TM can also. Qin Feng's eyes lit up immediately, as if LSP had unlocked a new pose. At this time, Emperor Daxia was really afraid of Qin Feng, and while he was in a daze, he turned into a golden light and shot into the sky. I suddenly remembered that there is still something to do. Your Majesty, I will take my second brother to see you when I have time. You don't need to be too polite. Don't prepare any precious treasures. Just give me a few copies of holy level and god level exercises. Then pack a Tianbao gourd. Just hit it. Let me tell you, I don't want more. It's useless for me to have so many good babies as a child. Qin Feng regained his senses and yelled in the direction the other party was leaving. It seemed that everyone vaguely saw the golden light lose its balance and almost lost control and fell from the air. This face. Everyone in the audience was extremely ashamed, saying that I couldn't wait. What are you looking at me for? Haven't you seen the number 1 handsome man in the ancient times? Qin Feng shook his head very proudly. His idle temperament was firmly grasped. Fenger, you are still young. Daddy will keep this sword for you. Qin Tian stepped forward with a malicious smile, and snatched the small wooden box from Qin Feng's hand. As one of the top 10 magical weapons in Huanggu, no one can remain indifferent to the 9 swords of the sky, not even the patriarch of Huanggu's first family. The disciples of the Qin family around felt ashamed. They did not expect Qin Tian to be such a patriarch. Is he in custody? He is just a big baby who is greedy for his son. You keep saying you love me, but you snatch my big baby. Qin Feng was like a playwright possessing his body, and tearfully threw himself into the arms of an old ancestor for comfort. Things that are worthless, even snatching his own son's treasure. The ancestor hugged Qin Feng distressfully to comfort him, and he did not forget to kick Qin Tian to help Qin Feng get back the 9 swords of the sky. It is equivalent to solemnly announcing to everyone that the 9 swords of the sky belong to Qin Feng, no matter how wrong Qin Tian, this cheap old man, felt. Anyway, the surrounding disciples of the Qin family looked at him with envy. A 3-year-old doll actually held the top 10 magical weapons in the remote ancient times, and even war. A top auxiliary treasure such as Tianbao gourd, if it gets out, how many practitioners will die with envy? Boom. Thunder and lightning flashed again in the sky, and the phantom of the dragon and phoenix dashed down, rushing into the room where Yun Xie gave birth. No cry of the baby was heard, only a little maid ran out to announce the good news. It's born, it's a little boy, mother and child are safe. Qin Feng's heart also relaxed when he mentioned the throat. The sudden coercion almost scared him to death just now, because he was afraid that the second brother's aura of restraint would suddenly open. Soon, the second child was cleaned and carried out. Qin Feng stepped forward to compare and found that he looked exactly like Dad, cheap, not like he inherited his mother's prosperous face, but these are not important anymore. The important thing is that the second brother fell into his hands. Unlike in the mother's womb, he can fight all day now. Woo! The second child seemed to feel Qin Feng's breath, and instinctively became restless. If he can speak at this time, it doesn't mean he can't see me, he just tells you not to come over. This little guy. The ancestors of the Qin family couldn't help frowning, feeling an unusual mysterious aura from the second child. Even if they have lived for thousands of years, they can't tell the reason for a while. They need to go back and read the ancient books. When everyone was studying around the second child, Qin Feng finally found a reason to beat his younger brother. Second brother, why don't you cry? There's nothing wrong with it. Everyone also realized that they did not hear the child cry. It was completely different from other children born. Just when everyone was about to check, a small hand stretched out, snap. Crisp applause sounded in the room. I saw Qin Feng raised his little hand, and slapped his second brother's little but hard. From the red slap print, it can be seen that it was definitely his brother who slapped him, and the strike was not ordinary. Wow wow. The second brother felt his ass being spanked, and cried loudly. How can you hit your brother? Qin Tian seriously criticized Qin Feng, and quickly hugged the second child to coax him. Aren't I afraid that something will happen to him? Qin Feng's face was full of grievances, but his heart was already full of joy. Ding dong, it's detected that the host spanked the son of the chosen one, get 100 points. Ding dong, it was detected that the host was crying for the son of the chosen one, causing him to lose a mouthful of his innate ancestral energy, which was worth 3 years of penance and earned 3 points. Ding dong, it is detected that the host destroys the chance of the chosen one, and I will get a chance to draw a lottery. Qin Feng was stunned on the spot, not knowing what innate ancestral spirit is. The system explained, people are born with the energy of heaven and earth, and there must be a period of vitality before conception. This is the so-called ancestral qi, and refining it can be worth 3 years of hard work. After Qin Feng understood it, a big trough popped up in his heart. If I had known why the innate ancestral spirit was so awesome, I wouldn't have pretended to shout when he was born. Maybe this is the difference between the protagonist and the villain. It's just how did the second brother know? Qin Feng looked at the crying second brother curiously, wondering if he was the reincarnation of a certain power, but after several days of observation, I didn't find that the second brother was wise. Like other babies, he ate and slept, or kept crying. His cheap father was almost tormented crazy, and he immediately dismissed the idea of having a third child. Not all babies are called Qin Feng. It's just that the way his mother looks at his father is obviously wrong. There is a sense that the reason why I married you is to give you more sons to avenge you. That night, from time to time, the candles made a snap sound. Qin Feng, who lives in the next room, vaguely heard someone singing Ode to the Goose. Chapter 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This day, Qin Feng is sitting cross-legged in his small courtyard and practicing. since he broke through to the first stage of the Yuan Kaijing, his cultivation speed has slowed down again, because the 33-day fortune-telling formula can no longer keep up. It's as if he has changed to a new car, which is stronger than the previous one, but the engine is not strong enough from the old one, and he needs to comprehend the second level as soon as possible. Fortunately, my stupid Oudou Dou was born, so I can let go and do it. Qin Feng turned on the system, showing 32,400 villain points, and a chance to draw a lottery. According to the system, only by destroying the chance of the chosen one will you get a chance to draw a lottery, and the prizes inside are also very awesome, all of which are some god-level physique, special magical powers, magical skills. What can you draw out? Qin Feng was full of expectations and started calling the system, clap. Before Qin Feng's eyes, there was a large rotating lottery turntable, densely packed with prizes, such as Taishang Body, Celestial Hegemony Body, Fighting Saint Body, Chaos Saint Body, Double Eyes, Supreme Bone, True Dragon Treasure Technique, Transforming Freedom. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for winning the heaven-slashing sword art. Boom. There was a thunder in Qin Feng's mind, and he came to another world as if his soul had come out of his body. A man in black appeared. No more nonsense, nod your head and draw your sword. A crisp sound of clanging and drawing a sword resounded through the heaven and earth, and the stunning sword light that stood in the world suddenly appeared, and the icy chills swept the whole world. The sword light was as light as a startling bird, as if it was about to cut the sky into two. The terrifying sword is like a mark, deeply engraved in Qin Feng's mind. People are intoxicated by it, unable to extricate themselves for a long time. Too horrible. After Qin Feng's consciousness returned, his whole body was covered with cold sweat. True swordsmanship does not need to be fancy. The sword out of the sheath can cut the sky and destroy the earth, and it can also tell the winner. It's just that although Zhantian and swordsmanship are powerful, given Qin Feng's current cultivation and age, even if he knows how to use it, he can't cut it out. He still needs to strengthen his cultivation and improve his physical fitness. We still have to hurry up and practice. Qin Feng called the system in his heart to exchange for a month of enlightenment aura. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for successfully exchanging 3 villain points for a month of enlightenment aura. Qin Feng felt it again after 3 years, that kind of trance like a soul coming out of his body. There were many things he didn't understand about cultivation before, but now he can easily figure it out. At this time an old man appeared in Qin Feng's small courtyard. Upon closer inspection, he was the 10th patriarch of the Qin family. According to his seniority, he was Qin Feng's great-grandfather and his father's real grandfather. As for his grandfather, it is said that he is going out for training. There has been no news for hundreds of years, and it is not known whether it is dead or alive. The whole family has been arguing endlessly about whether to eat or not. Great-grandson, Grandpa is here to see you. The 10th patriarch hugged Qin Feng lovingly, and loved this obedient, sensible and hardworking great-grandson. Ever since Qin Feng broke through the Kaiyuan realm, the ancestors of the Qin family were both surprised and delighted. The joy is naturally that their Qin family has an extra genius, and the surprise is that Qin Feng actually made a breakthrough without guidance. It is an extremely dangerous behavior, and it will be ruined. After discussing with several patriarchs of the Qin family, they decided to send the 10th patriarch to guide Qin Feng in cultivation. Guide. Qin Feng felt that it was unnecessary. What he has is the full version of the 33-day good fortune Jew. The precautions are clearly marked on it. As long as you practice according to the above, there will be no accidents. As for instructing him on martial arts and agility, it would be better to lend him his second brother's ass for 2 days. No matter how difficult the martial arts and agility taught are, he can guarantee to learn them within 2 days. Cultivators must remember that there must be no pride. The 10th patriarch felt that Qin Feng had raised his heart of pride, so he was ready to beat him well, to let him understand that there are green hills outside the mountains, and brothels outside the buildings, and that if you don't advance in the way of cultivation, you will retreat. Seeing the 10 patriarch's spirit sank to his dantian, he stomped his feet vigorously. A few leaves on the ground bounced and danced, and then pointed his fingers together at the rockery not far away, which is more than 10 meters high. Call out, call out, call out. A piece of fallen leaves turned into a terrifying killer on the spot. directly cutting the 10-meter-long rockery into gravel. The 10 ancestors said earnestly and earnestly, "See, this is the first heaven-level martial art learned by the grandfather. The fallen leaves are flying." Back then, he practiced hard at home for more than 10 years and finally achieved great perfection. He became famous as soon as he came out of the rivers and lakes. The world. Before he finished showing off his glorious deeds, he saw Qin Feng imitating his example. First, let's get angry at the dantian, stomp his feet vigorously, a few leaves on the ground bounce and dance, and then put his fingers together and point at the stone table not far away, call out, call out, call out. A piece of fallen leaves flew out like steel sheets, and all of them stuck on the stone table. If it wasn't for his cultivation at the first level of the Yuan realm, he would definitely be able to become a cutting machine like the 10 patriarchs. This thing needs 10 years of hard work. Qin Feng didn't feel the slightest difficulty at all, and felt that he could reach Dzogchen within a month at most. I don't know if it's because he has a halo of 100 times more enlightenment at this time, or if flying leaves has a bit of martial arts flavor, so he can't be seen in the fantasy world anyway. No matter what the reason is, Tianjie really doesn't like it. Or spanking the second brother's ass to exchange for god-level martial arts is attractive. At this time, the 10 ancestors stood beside him silently, expressing that he had been hurt, especially the sentence Qin Feng muttered, "This thing needs decades of hard training, and it brought him unprecedented critical damage. I need silence." The 10 patriarch kept comforting himself in his heart, not to be angry, not to be angry, his own child, his own child. Ding dong, it is found that the host has no respect for elders, get 100 villain points. Why am I so disrespectful? Qin Feng was stunned on the spot, wondering if the system made a mistake. Soon, the system gave the answer, if you don't listen to the old man's words, you have no respect for your elders. The last time Qin Feng was speechless was the last time, no matter what age, you still take the old man's words as an imperial decree. Could it be that the old man's words are all right? Never mind. It's the system, and it's all right. If you don't have respected elders, you will have no respected elders. You must know that if you don't listen to the old man's words, you will be happy for several years. At this time, several other ancestors of the Qin family walked past Qin Feng with serious expressions, and went to the small courtyard next door where his parents lived without looking back. What happened? Qin Feng followed curiously. As soon as I entered the door, I saw several ancestors surrounding the second brother, and took out a few ancient books to compare with the second brother. Within a few minutes, the ancestors couldn't hide anymore, and laughed excitedly. Supreme bone, that's right, that mysterious aura is the one-in-a-kind supreme bone in the legend. This child is a born supreme. God bless my Qin family. This halo is on. Qin Feng's whole body became ill in an instant, and there was really no reason for the son of the chosen one. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for triggering the epic task of the villain of destiny, digging out his brother's supreme bone, and rewarding the invincible double pupil. Chapter 9 One Batch of Panic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Puff. Qin Feng almost spat out a mouthful of, year-old blood, and felt more and more that this was not a serious system. These are his close friends, relatives, brothers and sisters. The system seductively said, the supreme bone can be broken and then regrown. Break and then stand. Regrow. It was a lie for Qin Feng to say that he was not moved at this moment, but he quickly shook his head and vetoed it. If the second brother's supreme bones were really dug out, the old parents would have to scrape off a layer of his skin, and the image established over the years would also be destroyed, injure 1,000 enemies, and self-inflict 800. No, I need silence. Qin Feng shook his head and didn't think about the supreme bone, and returned to his small courtyard to start practicing. I thought it would be easier for a while after the second brother's innate ancestral spirit was knocked out, but who knew that he had an extra supreme bone unreasonably? You must practice without relaxing for a moment, so as not to be implicated to your life, in the courtyard. Qin Feng practiced sitting cross-legged, and he was instantly in samadhi. Different from the comprehension of the first level, the second level is obviously much more complicated, but the effect is also very obvious. In addition to the faster cultivation speed, the recovery power will also be stronger than before. At the same time, the Tianbao gourd hanging around Qin Feng's neck also shone with a soft light. Not only can it help him concentrate and calm his mind to prevent him from going crazy, but it can also consolidate his cultivation at the first level of the Yuan Kaijing, and accelerate the speed of breaking through the second level of the Yuan Kaijing. It can be said that with this Tianbao gourd, the speed of cultivation has at least doubled. What a fast entry speed! Standing by the side, the 10 ancestors showed surprise, and became more and more optimistic about Qin Feng. He was not proud of his potential to improve the century-old pregnancy, nor was he complacent when he realized that the innate skills won at the starting line, but he still practiced so hard. This son has a promising future. Spring goes and autumn comes again, and 5 years have passed. Qin Feng was 8 years old. After comprehending the second heaven, his cultivation has been advancing by leaps and bounds all the way. In just 5 years, he broke through to the 9th level of the Kaiyuan realm, which is only one step away from the transcendent realm. Unlike those in the Kaiyuan realm who open up their dantians and are as light as a swallow, the transcendent realm can release their aura and kill people thousands of meters away. At this time, Qin Feng was sitting cross-legged in a bathtub. Inside is a medicated bath specially prepared by the Qin family for him, which can help him better temper his body and strengthen his foundation, which is considered a benefit of the big family he was born in. Qin Feng frowned unconsciously in pain, trying to shoot out his spiritual power. Bang! A muffled sound came from the body, and as the body trembled, a terrifying air gushed out from the body, shaking everything in the room to pieces. It actually broke through. The 10 patriarch looked astonished at the side, staring blankly at Qin Feng in the bathtub. The 8-year-old transcendent once again broke the ancient record. However, the 10 patriarch returned to normal after only being stunned for a while, not because he had the heart to practice for 1,000 years, but because Qin Feng's younger brother Qin Hao was even more perverted. Qin Feng set the record for breaking through the Kaiyuan realm the fastest when he was 3 years old, and he successfully broke it again when he was 2 years old. Although he is only 5 years old now, his cultivation has reached the 5th level of the Kaiyuan realm. It is not too easy to break Qin Feng's record of breaking through the transcendent realm the fastest before the age of 8. None of these two brothers is normal. That the 10 ancestors' self-confidence was severely hit. I feel that compared with these two brothers, I am living like a dog. Roar! Qin Feng stood up and roared, releasing his spiritual power to shatter the bathtub. Although he was only 8 years old at this time, his height was about the same as that of a 12 or 13-year-old child. He even had perfect 8-pack abs at such a young age, and his whole body was full of wild explosive power. The first thing after the breakthrough was to beat up his second brother. Although his father is my father, her mother is my mother, and his ancestor is my ancestor, it doesn't affect me to beat him at all. In the past 5 years, he often used the excuse of sparring to rub his second brother on the ground repeatedly, earning a lot of villain points, and now he has more than 24 villain points. But this guy is really unreasonable, and it is getting more and more difficult to fight now. Even though he was only at the 5th level of the Yuan Kaijing, it made him feel strenuous at the 9th level of the Yuan Kaijing, and it also made him understand the horror of Dzogchen, and it was indeed an invincible existence at the same level. In this regard, he also asked the system, is there any way to achieve the state of Dzogchen? The system's answer is also very simple, just buy a Dzogchen realm card and use it. The price is not expensive, only 100 million villain points. In order to finish it as soon as possible, beat my brother as soon as possible. This child. 10 Patriarch rubbed the center of his brows with a headache, knowing that there was going to be another flurry of nonsense. However, he didn't mean to stop him. The younger brother didn't lose confidence in the failure, but worked harder in cultivation. Even if the older brother won, he would keep urging himself to work harder. Such a virtuous circle, they are happy to see. Eldest son. But when the disciples of the Qin family saw Qin Feng, they all smiled and greeted him. It's just that when they felt the unstable aura fluctuating around Qin Feng's body, they immediately felt turbulent waves in their hearts. Just kidding. Really broke through the transcendent realm. In their cognition, even a genius who breaks through to the transcendent realm must be at least 15 or 16 years old. In the ancient times, he could already be a fledgling, and a powerful person could be considered a little famous, but now Qin Feng has reached it at the age of 8. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, who would dare to believe it was true? Monster, that the disciple of the Qin family swallowed, and was shocked by Qin Feng's talent. Qin Feng ignored everyone's shock, and now he just wanted to find his second brother and beat him up. In the end, Qin Feng managed to find his second younger brother at the gate of Qin's house by relying on his 5 years of experience. He saw a little doubting sleeping on the crooked neck tree at the gate of Qin's house. It really is here. Qin Feng walked around the crooked neck tree suspiciously. In his memory, his second brother often slept on this tree. If it was other children, he would think it was playful, but facing the unreasonable second brother, he always felt that there was some great opportunity in it. The more inconspicuous something others feel, it is often the key to the protagonist's comeback. Could it be that I'm overthinking it? Qin Feng looked at it for a long time and didn't see any mystery. His eyes unconsciously shifted to his second brother who was sleeping. In the eyes of others, it may look like a peaceful time, but in his eyes, he always feels that the second brother is seducing him to dig the supreme bone. Originally, my dream was to become a dandy and live a life of luxury, but because of this little thing, I had to work hard to protect myself. The more Qin Feng thought about it, the more angry he became, and he raised his hand high. Snap. I saw Qin Feng's hand hit Qin Hao's little but hard, which made the little guy wake up immediately. Seeing that Qin Feng was not angry, he called his brother happily. Even though his brother spanked him thousands of times, he still likes to play with him. To this Qin Feng panicked. As we all know, the warmer the childhood scene, the more miserable the death scene when grown up. Except for the heroine, whoever the protagonist interacts with will go faster. When the time ring opened, Hades smiled and said, "Here we come, brother." Chapter 10. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Brother, let's go out. Qin Hao looked at Qin Feng expectantly, hoping that Qin Feng could take him out to play. Go out and play. Qin Feng couldn't help rolling his eyes, saying that he thought highly of himself. As the future hope of the Qin family protects the two brothers in all directions without any dead ends. He has never been out of the Qin family since he was 8 years old. Of course, he didn't have to go out either. It's not that the ancestors of the Qin family didn't let him go out, but that the Qin family is really too big. The reason why the Qin family became the #1 family in the ancient times was that apart from relying on the protection of their ancestors, the Qin family also had tens of millions of bloodlines, and they all lived in a single city, coupled with the family ideology. Inherited by martial arts, everyone in the Qin family has a cultivation base, and only then has the title of the first family in the ancient times been cast. If there are no special circumstances, there is no need to leave the Qin family. It is precisely because the Qin family's force value is too high, so the real ruler of the eastern part of the Great Xia dynasty is the Qin family. Those who live here may not know the Great Xia royal family, but they absolutely must not know the Qin family. This is the disadvantage of the royal family sharing the world with the aristocratic family. Elder brother. Qin Hao shook Qin Feng's arm pitifully, trying to achieve his goal by pretending to be pitiful. It's a pity that Qin Feng didn't take his trick at all. If it was a younger sister, he might be shaken, but in order for the second brother to have a complete childhood, he still nodded and agreed to his request. Let him wait for him outside the city first, and he went to talk to his mother. Great! Qin Hao still doesn't understand the sinister nature of the human heart, so he happily ran away. Mother, the second brother ran away from home. Qin Feng changed from a gentle big brother to a scheming boy in seconds, and rushed into the house to make a small report with Jie Jie Jie. Ding dong, it was found that the host framed the chosen one and got 200 villain points, that the surrounding guards were expressionless, and they had long been accustomed to this. In the past 5 years, Qin Feng has tricked his younger brother one after another. If they guessed correctly, the eldest son will pass a feather duster to his wife later. Soon Jie Jie carried Qin Hao back angrily as if she was carrying a small chicken. Qin Feng turned into a gentle big brother again, and went up to explain distressedly, "Mother, don't be angry, I promised to take the second brother out to play. It's not that the second brother wants to run away from home." Aha! Qin Hao nodded his head again and again, looking at his eldest brother with gratitude. It's just that the more Qin Feng said this, the more his mother didn't believe it. he felt that the boss cared about his younger brother and didn't want his younger brother to be beaten later, so he took the initiative to take the responsibility on himself. She really couldn't figure out why there was such a big gap between twins born to the same father and mother. The eldest was sensible and obedient since childhood, while the second was mischievous all day long. You can't learn from your brother, you know how to be mischievous all day long. Jie turned on the strict mother mode, and preached to Qin Hao for a while, but she didn't notice that Qin Feng, who was behind her, made a face at his second brother, making a 5-year-old child bear a laugh that he couldn't bear at his age. Finally, he still couldn't help laughing out loud, causing Jie, who was about to lose his temper, to get angry after a scratch, and began to brainwash himself continuously. This is my son, I'm his mother, I can't get angry with him, let alone beat him, I have to coax him when he cries, and heal him when he is injured. It's not easy for me to raise him so big. Here, it must be because of me that he made mistakes. I did not educate him carefully. It is because my ability is not good and my method is lacking. Dutiful sons are born under the stick, and rebellious sons are born on the head of chopsticks. Endure for a while, take a step back and think more and more, the more I can't bear it, I don't need to bear it anymore, if I don't break out in silence, I will die in silence. I can no longer control the prehistoric power in my body. Seeing Qin Hao still smirking, Jie announced that the brainwashing had failed. Mother, the second brother is just a child. Qin Feng hurriedly pretended to be someone and stepped forward to stop him, but he happened to be holding a willow stick in his hand. Get out of the way, my mother must teach him a lesson today. She took the willow stick in a smooth manner, and it would be hard to calm down if he didn't give this brat a couple of slaps. Wicker. There was a slight change in the faces of the surrounding guards, which was different from the feather duster they guessed. While Qin Feng was waiting for the villain to check the account, there was a sudden burst of music in the sky. From a distance, one could see a mighty team coming. 9 mountain-like alien beasts were pulling a luxurious chariot, and the team behind them were flying in the sky on alien beasts. If strengthening +10 will shine, then this team must at least be strengthening +20. The Lin family, City of Heavenly Heart. Qin Feng saw the origin of the other party at a glance, and he was the absolute master of the western part of Great Xia. Different from the family-style rule of the Qin family, the Lin family in the city of Tianqin is regarded as a party of princes. They have recruited many capable people and strangers for their own use, and there are millions of generations of Jia troops working for them, firmly controlling the western part of Daxia. I'll deal with you later. Jie glared at Qin Hao, and took the two brothers home. At the same time, bells and drums sounded in the Qin family city to represent welcome. Hundreds of thousands of high-strength Qin family disciples went out of the city to welcome the distinguished guests of Tianqin City, and showed them the powerful background of the Qin family. By the way, the two Qin Feng brothers were also dressed in formal clothes by Jie, and accompanied by cheap father Qin Tian out of the city to greet them in person. Unlike the usual funny father, today's Qin Tian can be said to be domineering. Just stand there, like the invincible god of war. Brother Qin Tian, I haven't seen you for many years, I want to die as a brother. After getting out of the car, a middle-aged man in a fine attire, saw Qin Tian and immediately came forward to give him a warm hug. At first glance, he looked like a cunning old fox. Brother Lin Hao, I miss you so much. Qin Tian laughed heartily, with some sincerity. These two are the twins from brother Qin Tian's family, who are 3 years apart. After exchanging pleasantries for a while, Lin Hao looked at Qin Feng and Qin Hao brothers. The reason why he traveled thousands of miles to Qin's family this time was because of these two brothers. To be precise, the Qin family wanted to form an alliance with Tianqin City and choose one of these two brothers to be married to his precious daughter. Ever since the Qin family produced two geniuses in succession, and the two brothers continued to break the ancient records, the Daxia royal family was completely anxious. In order to ensure the stability of the imperial power, they began to contact the major families to prepare to take action against the Qin family. The Qin family had no choice but to start looking for allies for their own benefit. That's right, this is the boss, Qin Feng, who has the qualifications of a great emperor, and the second son, Qin Hao, has the supreme bone that is unique in 1,000. Qin Tian proudly introduced the two elder brothers. It is already smoke from the ancestral graves for someone else's family to produce a genius, but his family has produced two peerless geniuses one after another. The supreme bone has been recorded in ancient times, so it is unknown whether the great emperor's qualifications are true or not. At Sundra little Loli came out from behind Lin Hao. She was the little princess of Tianjin City, Lin Xianer, although she is only a 6 or 7-year-old little Loli at this time. Her eyebrows are like emerald feathers, her muscles are like white snow, her waist is like a string, and her teeth are like shellfish. One look at her and she knows that she will be a beauty when she grows up. Xianer, don't be rude. Lin Hao reprimanded him and asked him to pay attention to the situation. It's just that the arrogant little Lolita never cared about the occasion. She looked at Qin Feng with provocative and pointed eyes, and raised her hand and snapped her fingers, calling a handsome young man of 14 or 15 years old. He is my new servant, Lin San, do you dare to fight him to prove yourself? Lin Xianer gave Qin Feng a provocative look. Lin San. Qin Feng looked at the other party curiously, and found that this person had a big head, and he was definitely not an ordinary small character.